You know the drill. Don't forget to like, subscribe and share. Don't forget to like and subscribe and share. I thought I'd show off today. I've got a little microphone here. It's flashing at the moment. I don't know why. But you know, it seems to be the fashion. Put it on the side of your head. But it's a cheapo, and it's next to my glasses. But the thing is, if I put it on here, then it rubs around and makes a funny noise, a muffling noise. So I decided to take it off. Anyway, in the meantime, I'm here to make the fastest video that I can to talk to you about something that I've been doing over the last couple of weeks with an eBay rep, a guy called Simon from Dublin. He phones me up one day and he basically says, have you thought about advertising off-site? And I said I hadn't, but that's a lie, I had been thinking about it, and I had a number of thoughts, because I wasn't going to advertise via eBay, I was going to advertise on my own shop using Google or Facebook. You see, I've been thinking about it a lot, because I want to grow my own business, you know, and I've got to be prepared to spend the money. I thought, you can't be a beggar all your life, Martin. You've got to invest, you know what I mean? If you want to grow, you've got to acquire customers, and the cost of acquisition, you know what I mean? That's marketing. And so, you know, you can try and do you know the social media stuff, which I've still yet to do. I'm still working on that. But you know, you might be the fastest to actually acquire customers by buying them. So I agreed to do it, and he took me through the process. There was two initiatives. One where placement ads inside eBay. I thought I'd do that one. I'll have a go. And then there was another one where it was with Google and offsite ads, and you agree to a maximum spend per day, and he goes, you're going with a low cost per click. And he said, what I recommend is you go in at 6p cost per click and say spend a £5 a day. I said, all right, I'll have a go with that. I thought 30 days, 50, you know, £5, 150 quid. I'll give it 3 months, see what happens. Anyway, after a couple of weeks, he phones me back, and I look at the actual engine for the first time, and I was fairly surprised. He says, but you've got to give it some time, Mike. He says, you can't wait. You can't judge the success of this by after the first 3 weeks. It needs time to get going. And then he says, then you'll see the difference. I said, okay, fair enough, I'll trust you. So I went in and had a little look-see the other day, and it seemed okay, but I can't wrap my head around the eBay one, because they both, the issue I have with it is, it's all very well acquiring sales on these cost per clicks, but what kind of sales? Are they profitable sales, or are they sales where they're lost leaders and you're advertising? Because what I decided to do was to put 10% of my portfolio into the mix, and in this particular case, I went buttons. All my buttons went in there, and you know, when you sell buttons, you make buttons. Do you know what I mean? So I don't want to be selling paying money, good money out to actually sell buttons, and yet that's exactly what I'm doing. Anyway, he phoned me back and he showed me what to do, and how to interpret it. Most of it, it's, you know, it's common sense. But I've just been having a look at it, and I thought I'll make a quick video and let you know what kind of results I've got. I've had, this is the last 31 days looking back, I've had 1,093 clicks, right, of the last 31 days. I've sold 114 items, and I've generated £503 in sales, 500 quid, and the sales conversion rate is 10.43%, which I think is quite good. I do think it's quite high, that. The cost per click is 9p per click, because it cost me £98, so 100 quid. £100, say 10p per click, and £500 sales. So I've laid out £1 and got £5 in sales back. Well, that's okay, getting laying £1 out and getting £5 sales back. But if you're only saying making 20p, it's not a great profit. Maybe what happens if I'm making nothing? What happens if it's costing me to do this and I'm losing? I don't know. I need to do some analysis. But when he called through, he showed me this one report, and I was a bit pressed for time. And after he went, I went into this report and I analysed it. And no, I did it while he was on the phone. That was it, because we had a conversation about it, and it was this. One of my listings was responsible for generating about 25% of all the clicks, but that particular listing wasn't resulting in any sales. So I made the comment. I said that I've got to understand why that item isn't selling. If it's getting all the clicks but nobody's buying it. He said, "No, you're thinking along the right lines." He said, I said, well, now you know you're thinking, aren't I? So I went, oh, I thought, I've got two things I can do. I can either go into that listing, find out why it isn't selling, and fix it, or I can go in and take it out of the initiative, so it won't get any views, and therefore it won't. He said, now you're thinking even smarter. I said, okay, I get it. We left the conversation that way, but I did make one comment to him. I said, my concern is, right, I said, I am paying out 9p to advertise my product on eBay, on Google, and it's bringing a customer into eBay, and you're benefiting from it, right? And he says, but you are as well. I said, yeah, but hold on, what about the ones that are coming into eBay and they're looking at the listing and going, oh look, I can get it cheaper on another listing further down. You know how people pay to promote their listings and advertise their listings on your listing. So I've got an advert on my listing and I'm paying somebody to say, come in and have a look at this advert, right? They're not looking at my listing, they're looking at the advert. So he acknowledged that. He says, well, that's the nature of the game. I said, all right. I said, okay, thank you very much. I said, so you've got me to pay to advertise your business. Clever, I thought. But he said, no, but you'll succeed as well. It swings and roundabouts. I said, fine, fair enough. I said, but let the marketing department know that I'm unhappy about that. If I'm going to pay to advertise my product on Google, I don't want any adverts on my listing. I want them removed. Do you know what I mean? It makes sense, doesn't it? It's only fair. It's only fair. But I thought, no, hold on. This whole thing anyway is giving me some learning. I'm paying for a learning curve here. The cost of being written off against tax. I'm getting some sales. It appears that maybe my costs are being covered. Maybe I'm being a busy fool, who knows? But if I was to run the same campaign on my own Shopify store via Google and I got the same kind of results, it's a different ballgame for two reasons. One, right, there's no commissions to eBay, and two, there's no postage in the price. I basically I do pay postage on my shop, so that the reality is they might come in to buy some buttons, but they might end up spending 25-30 quid on some other things. Do you know what I mean? Anyway, the other thing is that I've only got buttons in the initiative. So you sell buttons, you make buttons. So what I've got to do is go and put some of the bigger stuff that I've got in my store into the mix. So I'm thinking of increasing my monthly spend and putting everything that I've got in there. Let's see what happens then, and I shall report back on the numbers, and we'll see what happens. But the idea is, I'll give you an example. I've got a product X and I pay say 20 quid for it, and I'm selling it for 60, and the postage is say £5, and I'm sending like say about £9 in fees to eBay. So there's £14-ish, say £15 going on costs, the cost of the product, and I'm left with say £15. I'm just picking up numbers out there. If I pay 9p to make 15 quid, I'll have that all day long. Do you know what I mean? So I've got to get clever and smarter with the products that I'm advertising. I think it could be the way to go. But obviously, they want you to. It seems to me as if eBay will give you some organic sales because they're available in the marketplace. But if you want to grow your business, you've got to market it and use the different initiatives that they've got. That's what they're basically saying. Well, if that's true, then I want to apply those rules to my own store and grow my own store for myself, and I'll just have the organic sales from eBay. Maybe my sales will go down, but my personal sales on my own store should go up. That's what I'm thinking. What do you think? Let me know if you're advertising, if there's anything that I've missed out or overlooked, if you've got any useful information which you think I will prosper from. And don't forget to like, share and subscribe. It helps. I need your help. Thank you very much. I'll be back later with another update. Bye.